Hey guys, Brian here with another impressions video for you. This time we're going to take a look at Planet X Project X Genesis. And I'm going to say this up front, I beg your forgiveness for how clumsy this is probably going to be because he is huge and difficult to manipulate and wield. So let's just go ahead and start off, and I'll get him into a neutral pose for you so that I can do some size comparisons to show you how big he is. And you're going to see just how much difficulty I have manipulating him. He has a lot of ratcheting joints and a lot of heavy arms. Getting him into a standing position can be difficult for me. But it can be done. Got shoulder pads up. Okay. Alright. Good? You good? You gonna stay there? Good. Okay, thank you. Let's get your little top cannon up. Good. Alright. Now, for a size comparison, real quick, let's just go ahead and bring in someone who he fought against in Fall of Cybertron. There's Megatron. Yeah. Let's just tilt the camera down. That's Megatron. This is a... I have a ruler here. Bam. That is a 6-inch tall figure for Megatron. Genesis here. Freaking huge. He's huge. He's bigger than he's more than a foot tall. Or more than 30 centimeters tall. Millimeters? 30 millimeters tall. However long that is. He's huge. And awesome. He is a pain in the ass to move and pose, but he is imposing and huge, and that is exactly what he needed to be. Now, if you didn't know, I suppose I should have started off with this, but if you didn't know, he is from... This is a rendition of Omega Supreme from the video game Transformers Fall of Cybertron, which I assume you guys probably know. Oh, with a limited head that I bought for it, because I like that better than the other faceplate. And in the game, Omega Supreme fought Megatron, or rather, the vice versa. So that's why I did that size comparison. His articulation is pretty awesome. His head only swivels back and forth. It kind of does some forward movement. No, it does. It does some forward movement. It's not a fantastically articulated head. His shoulders can do a full 360, but because of the heaviness of his arms, can't really hold them up. These forearms are really heavy, and I wish there was some way they could have been lighter, but I don't really know how. His elbows are strong and give you good bend. Okay, I don't know which... This piece comes in and out. I don't know which it's supposed to be for robot mode. I always just leave it in. Oh, by the way, they come apart. I'll show a base mode in a little bit, because I'm sure you're already aware it has a base mode. But his hand itself has this ring around it that you can spin to get his claws spin. That's fun to me. I like this. This is fun. And each of his fingers here are articulated on numerous points and are awesome. I love this hand. I love this claw. And it comes with this. Well, it comes with this little thingy here, if I can pull it out. And it's just this little thing, that an LED that you push the button on the back of it and it turns on. And you can put it in so that it's always on, like I have in the chest. There's actually 5 of these that you can get, that came with it, actually. And it goes in 5 different points. It goes in chest, on that hand, which doesn't really do anything when it's in this mode, because you wouldn't be able to see it. Here, obviously, and on each of his ankles, right there. So, for the hand, I love this hand because it's awesome and clawed, and this is just fun to me. Whee! But yeah, it's supposed to come off. It's supposed to come off and comes off rather easily. So let's get back to articulation. Has the same elbow on that hand. Well, let's go ahead and pull his arm off and take a look at this hand, shall we? You can see he's already starting to do the splits as I'm just trying to manipulate him. His legs aren't as strong as I'd like them to be. But for this hand, each of these panels are on their own thing. And these guys are pretty cool too. You can open them up and get this array-like thing. And this little segment right here pops out as well for transformation and such. And This is where the other light is. This hand doesn't have any other articulation really, other than just how you want to display the fins here. I do kind of like them. It's unique to me. I dig it. Let's put that arm back on. And his legs have like 2 joints in them. Like, they come out on this thing that I'm not sure how. Well, I know how, but I'm not sure why they completely did it like this, but basically it's articulated there and articulated there. So you can pull it out and get rather wide like that, but it doesn't really ever do anything. So I try to get that as close to the body as possible. And then his thigh can go like that. Big, huge, loud ratchet joints in this. It would be able to do would it be able to do a full 360? I don't know. Lots of motion on it, but unfortunately he's so heavy, the motion is kind of wasted. So he's got a pretty good knee joint. It can rotate here and here on either edge of this gray piece. It bends at the lower part like that. But you can get some pretty good articulation on it, which unfortunately is basically wasted because he's so heavy that you can't really do too much articulation with. My biggest disappointment with it. His feet are awesome and have great tilt. They can go forward and backwards quite far. Even got toes on them. I love these feet. Just wish I could use them more. And this is where the ankle button would be. And again, I could take this thing out and put it in sideways, or in the other direction, so that it's always on. So why don't I do that instead of talk about it? There's the ankle with the light on. I did both of them for you. His waist. He's got an ab crunch that goes backwards. And he's got a pretty darn good waist joint too. So he's got the basics for being articulated. And can get some pretty awesome poses. But he's so big and heavy that I just have such a hard time manipulating him. And it also sucks that when I do get him into a good pose, his arms will fall down occasionally. Because this joint up here are not strong enough to hold up the arms. I've even taken some stuff to strengthen those joints, and still they aren't strong enough to hold his arms up. If they were, it'd be so much easier on this guy. But one of the other things I really love about this figure is that he's got these things. These little cannons, there's like 8 of them all around him, including on his shoulder pylons. And they just flip out, and it's awesome, like half ball jointed system. And I love the engineering on these guys. And they're like expressive and manipulative, and I love these turrets. They are awesome. And you can deploy the majority of these turrets in either mode as well. And here's another size comparison for you. Just showing you how massive he can hold Megatron in his hands. Optimus comes up to his knee. It's awesome and huge and imposing, and is definitely a eye-catcher in my Fall of Cybertron display. So I'm really glad to have him, but let's switch over to ship mode, and we'll talk about my opinions on that. Okay, woo. Here is vehicle mode, with, Megatron and Optimus for scale. So let's just go ahead and remove these guys. And like robot mode, he is big and huge and difficult to manipulate and imposing as hell and finicky and awesome and annoying and lighted up. Amusingly enough, one of these lights is useless in every mode. For example, the one in his chest is now buried underneath a shoulder plate, whereas in robot mode, the one in his palm would be buried underneath his hand. So he's huge and awesome, and I like the look of this ship. It looks like a ship to me. Now, this is the official transformation. I believe this is the official transformation. This is what I believe is the official transformation. I like to take these off, and you can do most of his transformation without parts forming. These you do have to take off and put on, and they've got this cool gimmick of where they fold in and out. I kind of get a kick out of that. And then you reattach them together. Personally, for my own preference, I like leaving the ship mode like, yeah. I think this, actually, I don't do that. Do I do that? I think I do that. And to give more thruster-like appearance. So that's what I do for the ship mode. He is heavy and big. And that's what Omega Supreme should be. And unfortunately, he is also cumbersome and difficult to manipulate. I suppose I can stand it up. There you go. There's it standing up like a rocket. That's actually kind of cool looking. Oh. But he doesn't stay together particularly well, especially his arms. Like, that small little clip there plugs into a little port right there. I don't know if you can see it. But that's basically all that holds the front arm of the ship together. And the back half is held with this little clip here, and that likes to come undone as well. It's not an amazingly solid figure, but again, it's big and damn impressive, and I love having it, even with a number of annoying nitpicks on it. And again, you got the turrets that can swap out, or spin out, and attack things. I love those. So, there's not really much you can do in this mode, other than look big and impressive. And I like the look of this ship. This looks like a Cybertronian ship to me. I completely dig this and buy this. Yeah, I dig this. I think I do that with the toes. Do I do that with the toes? I don't know. It's my fan mode. You can do whatever you want. Now, the transformation to get to this mode is basically the same as the rest of the figure. It's finicky, hard to manipulate, heavy, and just not super awesome. But again, the end results, I'm super pleased with the end results. It's just the transformation is kind of a pain in the ass. I don't know particularly how it could be better other than just if he had been lighter, but to be lighter, you probably would have had to been smaller, and that would defeat the entire purpose of this thing. So, I guess it's just a catch-22 bad situation. Another minor nitpick I have is that these plates here come off very, very easily. They're screw covers for screws, obviously, but they aren't super tight and they pop off far too easily, and it's annoying. But a little bit of floor polish or super glue or something to make it thicker, make the peg thicker to hold it in more securely, can fix that. So there's the ship mode. Now let's show you the third hidden fan mode of the rocket base that a number of the Transformers fandom wants Omega Supreme to have, because that's what he turned into in G1, so he has to have that. And he can do something that's kind of cool in this as well. So let's jump to that. And here's the secret base mode for Planet X Genesis. Optimus for scale, obviously. Pull him away. And the two hands, since they can pull apart, can also combine into a rocket, which actually is pretty awesome. And of course, all these fingers can still manipulate how you want to display your rocket's fins or whatever. I do this because it makes it easy to stand, and I think it looks cool. And there we go. And to give you some scale, that guy on his own is also bigger than a ruler. His head can come off. Hi, how you doing? His head can come off and be its own little tank. Now, I suppose I should also clarify, like I said, this head was a BotCon, or it was a convention exclusive head with a more human face. The head that default came with this guy was a gold faceplate thing. This is the cannon from the faceplate version, which I prefer versus the cannon that was on this head. So when I got this head, I went ahead and just swapped the cannons around so that I could have this cannon. So anyway, back to what it can do. Bam! Now it's a tank again. And it's kind of cool, it has a little tank, but it's kind of lost on me. I'm not a G1er, so I don't care about base modes, really. I was completely satisfied with the other mode, because the idea that I hated it in G1, where Omega Supreme would transform into a rocket, and the majority of them would be the base and just sitting there. The rocket would shoot off into space, land on a planet, and then he'd transform back into a full robot with everything that he left behind. I hate that. That was annoying and stupid to me and completely unexplained and just done for purely the purposes of, hey, he's a rocket, he goes places, blah, blah, blah. So him turning into a ship is awesome to me. I love that. So the base mode here, I don't really use it because it doesn't really matter to me. But this is a there's an official base mode. So this is basically fan-made mode. And this seems to be the one that I think looks best and is basically, they're all roughly the same. And I knock things over. Basically, you just take ship mode, splay the legs out, and extend some stuff, and you get this thing, which works, I guess. And the rocket can sit in between the pylons. Now, I have had this set up in between Metroplex's legs to try and hide that fact that Metroplex is just a robot that's sitting on his ass. But yeah, and it does kind of work. So as a base mode, I guess it works. But yeah, overall, my opinions on this figure is that it's imposing and a pain in the ass. I love having it. I don't regret buying him whatsoever, but I really wish he wasn't as difficult to manipulate as he is. Because I would love to be able to get him into some awesome poses. But that's just me lamenting. At the end of the day, I'm glad to have him. He is like a central point. I didn't do it. He is a central point of my collection. He is one of my most imposing figures, and I love having him. And the game version of him was my favorite version of Omega Supreme, because I am just a whore for video game related stuff. And that was awesome to me, and this guy is the perfect representation of that, so I love having him, even if I don't really use him all that much. So, that's my opinions on him, guys. What do you think of Omega Supreme here, or should I say Planet X Genesis? What do you think of the base mode? What do you think of the robot mode? And what do you guys think of them? Let me know. See you guys next time.